What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. And we're not a good podcast. We're not a bad podcast. But I'll tell you, news is the #1 fucking podcast. Right here on YouTube.com. This is Off the Script, episode 123. Part number 2 for your Saturday morning, man. Unbelievable internal backstage reporting going on right now regarding this Roman Reigns situation. I am on this story like fucking flies on dog shit. I can't wait till all of this is out in the general public. I will be debunking rumors. I will be talking about what is being discussed internally. You guys are going to have it all today on Off the Script. And I am not going to waste any of your time, man. You guys know the deal about everything. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Down in the description if you guys want to continue to pledge or if you want to get your pledges in. I appreciate every single one of you. Early access for all my videos, including this very podcast, Off the Script. Follow me on Twitter, at JD from NY206. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have no idea what you are waiting for, my friend. Subscribe. This is the #1 source for everything WWE, right here on YouTube.com. Go buy a t-shirt, man. I got big news coming up. Follow me on Twitter for more news regarding pro wrestling tees and a huge sale that they are having. I got news on that, but my t-shirts are on their sister site, Barber Shop Window. Link is down in the description below if you guys want to get your now famous Roman Reigns Get Off My TV version 3 t-shirt, man. Selling like hotcakes. One of the best sellers on Barber Shop Window. Link is down below to my online shop in the description. WrestleCrate.com. And I got news on this. Fuck those other guys, man. Loot Crate coming out with a WWE themed box. When I was with them and I was fucking buying their bullshit, I always suggested, where's my WWE wrestling themed crate? Loot Crate. Now, obviously, they're taking my idea. They're doing that. But I'll tell you what. They're going to do it fucking half-assed, whereas WrestleCrate is always going to give you the most bang for your buck, man. They're going to give you the most fucking value for your money, so stick with WrestleCrate. WrestleCrate.com and on Twitter at WrestleCrates. Coupon code JDSENTME for an instant 10% off, and that is all I got for you guys today. If you missed anything else that I did previously this week, if you guys want to see social media comments, WWE #4, that is linked down below. The Resident Evil walkthrough for their new game coming out in 2017. That is down in the description below, as well as other shit that I did that I completely forgot this week down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for that. Now, I got so much Roman Reigns news, man. I swear to God, it may put people to sleep by the time this video is over, but I swear to God, and I swear to you, you are going to want to listen to this and stay awake. Go grab a cup of coffee, go grab a Guinness, whatever the fuck you got to do to stay awake, man. Sit down and let's have some fun here on Off the Script. At Money in the Bank, the truly unthinkable happened. Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. This is common knowledge. After Reigns beat Triple H at WrestleMania 32, there was constant speculation that Reigns would hold it for a very long time. We were all under the assumption that he would hold it through 2016. Even if it meant beating CM Punk's record of 434 days with the belt. A record I don't think WWE is going to come close to right now for a very, very long time. It would be in the WWE's best interest as well, since they wouldn't have to mention Punk's name for any other reason. However, the wrestling gods were with the WWE Universe, and Rollins reclaimed his belt that he never truly lost. At a moment's notice, Dean Ambrose music hit, and the crowd erupted in Las Vegas. He cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, which he won earlier in the night, and the new WWE champion was crowned. In one night, all former Shield members were the WWE champion. It's a feat that will probably never be replicated But Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins made history. According to a report from RingsideNews.com, the decision was made to give Ambrose the WWE title very late in their plans and could have been during the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Fast forward 24 hours at Monday Night Raw, and the main event for WWE Battleground was already being set. Reigns would take on Ambrose and Rollins in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. It was the match WWE fans have wanted for years. Now they finally got it. Shane McMahon made the announcement at the end of the show. Fast forward another 24 hours, and the unthinkable happened again. Roman Reigns was suspended. Reigns was one of the WWE's top guys. Still is. Surely that wouldn't get him into any situation that would get him suspended. However, Vince McMahon has always said nobody is bigger than the WWE. Reigns' suspension follows in line with the likes of Eddie Guerrero, Randy Orton, and Jeff Hardy. That's not to say they were all suspended for the same thing, but the end result was identical. What does this mean for the WWE Draft? The first live episode of SmackDown and WWE Battleground? Well, his suspension will be on day 29, the night of Battleground. Expect Reigns to be there for that pay-per-view. If a rumored leak, this is very important, you want to listen to this. If a rumored leak of the WWE pay-per-view schedule is accurate, it will be a dual show with both brands. Halt. I will be doing a separate video on the WWE pay-per-view calendar, what I think of it, and how I would alter it to make WWE pay-per-view must-see again. If I could get that video up on Saturday, I will surely do it. If not, it will be up Sunday night. Okay? I don't want to bombard you guys with too many videos. Quality over quantity. But it's coming. I was going to talk about it in this episode of Off the Script. Took a poll on Twitter. You guys wanted a separate video, more in-depth and more explanation behind my reasoning for the decisions and the concept that I came up with. So I will give you that in a separate video. Thank you very much. That won't affect the match, being that the pay-per-view is a dual show with both brands, as it already has been confirmed by Shane on Monday. The WWE Draft is where things will get very interesting. Reigns is a figurehead of the WWE brand, which I have mentioned several times already. He would have been near the top of the draft by a landslide. Clearly, they can't even mention Reigns. If they want to bring reality into the situation, they can technically draft Reigns, even though he isn't on the active roster. As far as the new superstars on the roster, they will get a chance to fill Reigns' shoes if they decide his suspension remains kayfabe. What Reigns did is inexcusable, and he should, as mentioned, be embarrassed for his mistake. At the end of the day, it was clearly a lapse of judgment. We still do not know what Roman Reigns was suspended for. We don't even know if the substance in question will be revealed. We don't know. Everything about this, we don't know. We've heard rumors, we've seen rumors circulating, we've heard people speculate. All in all, barely anything about this report can be taken as credible. There's some of it that you can believe, some of it I believe to be honest, most of it is just people talking out of their ass. Again, I state and I stand behind what I said in part one. Never did I ever say anything here was factual. This is merely going off a mix of people within the wrestling industry, within the business, within the interwebs, just coming together and talking about this situation. Okay? Nothing here is to be taken or to be taken 100% seriously. Obviously, what Reigns did is embarrassing, and I stated for a WWE champion, this certainly is embarrassing. And I stated that Vince McMahon now, and I quote, Vince McMahon says that there's nobody bigger than the WWE. If I'm Vince McMahon, one of the major things I see here in rebuilding Roman Reigns is that trust issue. You gave him everything under the fucking sun to make sure he was the number one guy. People did not accept him. Now you see what happened with this entire drug abuse situation, the fucking wellness policy, the violation. He got caught. He's got suspended now. WWE and Vince McMahon are going to have a very difficult time trusting Roman Reigns. They did not trust Randy Orton. They did not trust Jeff Hardy. And they did not trust Eddie Guerrero. Why would they trust Roman Reigns so quickly? You can't. You gotta punish him accordingly. That, again, I state, just like I said in part one, that is one of the things that fucking irks me about this situation. Reigns know he made a mistake. He should be embarrassed for his mistake. At the end of the day, it was clearly a lapse of judgment. If the WWE wants to capitalize on Roman Reigns' error, they will let him embrace it and turn him heel upon his return in 30 days. Ambrose is a babyface. People love Dean Ambrose. People want to see Dean Ambrose. People want to cheer Dean Ambrose. Seth Rollins, I don't give a shit what anybody says, bro. He is a babyface. WWE wanted him to be a heel, but there's babyface fucking waiting to come out of there like one of them fucking aliens. Those baby aliens that infest your fucking innards in the fucking Alien series. That shit's just waiting to fucking burst out and, you know, pronounce itself to the world. Seth Rollins is a fucking babyface. He is not a heel. WWE wants to think he's a heel. WWE wants to pretend he's a heel. They want to make you believe he's a heel. No, he's not. He's a babyface. Roman Reigns now, what, you're going to pretend he's a babyface upon return? When you got Rollins, who is a clear babyface, no matter how hard you push him as a heel. Dean Ambrose is fucking babyface down to the fucking very last letter. White hot. People want to see him. People want to see him as champion. People want to see him succeed. Roman Reigns, he's no babyface. He needs to be a fucking heel upon return. This gives WWE 30 days to alter Roman Reigns' character and mold him into the fucking villain he should have been at the end of Survivor Series in 2015. That's what needs to happen. Reigns needs to fit into this trifecta of the Shield, and he needs to be a fucking heel. WWE needs a top heel fighting for the title. Rollins is not that guy. He's a babyface. Ambrose is a babyface. Reigns, he's a fucking heel. Fact. The suspensions normally result, okay, this is where things get interesting. The suspensions normally result in immediate removal from the company for a span of 30 to 60 days. Done. Everybody else before Roman Reigns, they were fucking eradicated. Gone. Suspended. You don't hear from them. They're not reported. Nothing. They're gone until they return. Depending on the first or second violation, that is. A third violation results in a company firing the talent and keeping them away from WWE for the span of a year. All former and current WWE superstars are allowed to have a free rehab for any drug issue they may have as well. The sad part is that a suspension like this normally hurts a star's stock in the company and truly makes the company feel like they have to punish the talent. That makes total sense, which I even stated on part one. The one issue I have with this entire thing is that Roman Reigns appears to not be on the end of a punishment. How can you say that Roman Reigns is being punished if you automatically book him in a main event for a WWE title opportunity when you knew weeks in advance this man was going to be suspended? How? How is that punishing somebody? Anybody else, and I stated this, anybody else would be fucking exiled for 30 to 60 days. You wouldn't hear a fucking peep. You wouldn't hear a fucking peep from anybody. But Roman Reigns, he fails, and he's put into a championship match, and WWE is even pushing it out on their Twitter. Today, I seen it. Friday, I seen it. They're pushing and still pushing the triple threat. What does this mean for Roman Reigns? That he can get away with it, and that he's the fucking ultimate cocksucker of WWE and Vince McMahon. That's what that means. That is the part that fucking bothers me. Instead of WWE making plans to take him off television and truly punish him for the embarrassing mistake that he made, willingly or by accident, it doesn't fucking matter. Everybody from the top to the fucking very bottom needs to be dealt with the same way. Nobody is better than the next guy. Fuck that. And Vince McMahon even said it. Nobody's bigger than WWE. But why are they making Roman Reigns bigger than the WWE? Why are all these reports making Roman Reigns bigger than the WWE? It's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre. Right? So suspensions normally mean immediate removal. 30 to 60 days. The sad part is that a suspension like this normally hurts someone's star. Roman Reigns' star is going nowhere. He is still in the main event upon return. This is a 4-week vacation for Roman Reigns to do what he wants, go on vacation, go to an island somewhere, sit in a fucking beach chair with a cold Corona, play with his daughter, have family time. This is a vacation to Roman Reigns. He doesn't fucking care. He doesn't care. I'm sure he cares, but this is just whatever. It's a whatever situation to WWE. Roman Reigns is going to be off TV. Who gives a shit? He's still in the main event. He's still getting a title shot. His star and his stock is not going down. It's not declining. Whereas if anybody else was there, forget about it. Forget about it. They would have been fucking done. Just like Dolph Ziggler before him. Just like Jack Swagger before him. Done. Orton, Guerrero, Jeff Hardy. People mention this report. Done. Alright, so that part irks the fuck out of me. This makes total sense, but Roman Reigns may not see such action. Several reports reported recently that the company knew about Reigns' failed drug test several days before Money in the Bank. Most would understand why WWE didn't immediately suspend Reigns. I don't blame them for not suspending him for Money in the Bank. If this happened within the build of the Seth Rollins match at Money in the Bank, I do not blame them for suspending him. I wouldn't. If I was in charge, I would have not suspended Roman Reigns because I am not jeopardizing that kind of main event and the hype that they put behind that main event. I would have not suspended him. I would have taken the title off of him at Money in the Bank, which they did, and then I would have suspended him immediately. As soon as they left that arena on Sunday night, gone. Roman Reigns would have come to Monday Night Raw. I would have scripted him to be fucking in a beatdown angle by the Wyatt family. I would have had him taken out. I would have had him sent home, and then I would have had him come back 30 days later. Do you realize what you did? Do you realize the mistake you made? You're not getting a championship match. Now you have to work back to gain that trust and to get your status back within the company. WWE didn't do any of that at all. Roman Reigns, according to reports, is not going to see such punishment. They knew several days. They didn't want to jeopardize the Money in the Bank situation with the title match against Seth Rollins. I understand that. But they needed a main event for Money in the Bank, and they needed that match to happen. They did the right thing taking the belt off of him, but reports are claiming that Vince McMahon said that was going to be the only punishment until someone leaked it, and then obviously the investors got involved, and Wall Street got involved, and the stocks got involved. Vince McMahon has no choice but to suspend Roman Reigns. I don't want to believe Vince McMahon would put his company in that big of a fucking disaster hole. I don't think Vince McMahon would put his company in that kind of jeopardy, but that's what people were reporting. I don't believe that firsthand. I do not believe that firsthand at all. I don't want to believe it, but I would not put it past WWE to try and weasel their own fucking system. That's the difference. I don't believe it, but I would not put it past Vince McMahon to go those lengths, like I said in part 1. Okay? So, obviously, they needed a main event for Money in the Bank, and clearly Reigns could lose his WWE title and then get suspended officially. However, the company then had him work Monday Night Raw and get inserted into a match at the next pay-per-view, despite the knowledge that they already knew they were going to suspend him. Reports claim that WWE didn't want to suspend Reigns and was just going to punish him a bit, but those reports have little weight, as WWE has to report all failed drug tests due to being publicly traded. So obviously that debunks that rumor. They do not have to release the information on what he took to fail the test. However, despite this, the fact that WWE knew they were going to remove Reigns for 30 days and then still allow him to get into the main event world title match at the following pay-per-view is completely terrible on the company's behalf. The Wrestling Observer and Dave Meltzer report that there are people reportedly rolling their eyes at this situation, which is completely understandable. In fact, according to Meltzer, some are calling Reigns Vince McMahon's teacher's pet. The feeling is that this issue with Reigns sets a double standard for some of the other guys in the locker room, lower and mid-card workers. One person who will remain anonymous even quoted saying, if it was anybody else besides Cena and maybe Seth Rollins, do you think it would have gone down like this? Absolutely fucking not. And that's exactly what I said on part 1. The fact is that when it comes to Roman Reigns, the company screwed up big time. And fans know it as well as the talent. The problem for WWE will be, and this is a big problem, how do they do a storyline about Reigns for Battleground next month? His suspension expires a couple of days before the event takes place, which makes it possible for him to be part of it. However, he will miss all Raws and all SmackDown tapings leading up to this event, including the WWE Draft. That said, WWE will have a tough time with the world title storyline without him being around. Due to the mainstream press surrounding the suspension of Roman Reigns, including ESPN among the many, WWE will most likely have no choice but to inform the world about Reigns' suspension on Monday night on WWE Raw. The company then will have to find a way to make an excuse for Reigns to remain in the match. How they do that is going to be the most interesting part of Monday Night Raw. If you're not going to book an angle with him being taken out by somebody and setting up a possible future feud, I have legit no idea how they're going to do it. The best way to do it right now is to come clean and state to everybody that Roman Reigns was suspended because of a drug violation. It's better to come clean with a situation like this, take him out of the title match, and push these plans right now till SummerSlam. That's what's going to be best for everybody. And even then, some people might not agree with Roman Reigns being in the main event. He needs to be punished big time. He needs to be suspended, obviously, and he needs to be punished because anybody else in his shoes would have been fucking taken out of all future storylines with no title match, no title feud, nothing regarding the world title in sight for at least 6 months. This guy is getting away with fucking murder. So, WWE and the fans of Roman Reigns will say that it is just one mistake and we should forgive him and forget it. Which is fine. This is fine to some, but it's not for me. You're a WWE champion. Know the fucking rules. Alright? You should be embarrassed that you're at the fucking top of the mountain, that you're in the position that you're in, and you're making fucking mistakes like this, man. Anybody on that roster would fucking kill a human being to be where you are, man. Fame, notoriety, money, and the fucking just overall feeling that I am on top of the world. But you fuck it up, and you think you could get away with murder because you're Roman Reigns and because you're doing this to Vince McMahon and everybody else in the fucking back and that you're the anointed one? Give me a fucking break, man. I fucking hate that fucking political bullshit, man. That's what fucking irks me about this situation. Now he fucked up and he's still gonna get everything that's coming to him? Fuck that, man. He's gotta pay for his crimes. Stupid shit. WWE fans are gonna say, and it's one mistake. He should, we should forgive him, forget it. It's going to be fine. He'll get over it. However, he has to be punished for the violation, and he's really not going to be punished, it seems. Clearly, WWE does not have to give the WWE Raw title back to Roman Reigns and could keep it on Dean Ambrose or have it go back to Seth Rollins. However, don't be surprised if Reigns is right back in the world title hunt on whatever brand he ends up on. It will be interesting to see how WWE combats the clear knowledge of everyone knowing Reigns is suspended for a drug violation. That is the most interesting part of Monday Night Raw, and one I will be listening to with fucking open ears, bro. How are they going to do it? I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think there's any way around this whatsoever. So that is the latest on Roman Reigns. Literally everything up to the minute, up-to-date information on Roman Reigns and the fact that he's suspended, but he's still fucking getting what is coming to him, man. So we are going to continue to monitor this story. We are going to continue to follow the story, and anything else that breaks about Roman Reigns and his suspension and what WWE's plans are going forward, I will keep you updated right here on Off the Script. We have news on Carlito, MVP, and Stevie Richards about potential returns to the company. Over the weekend, a bombshell may have been dropped on the wrestling industry that most likely won't know, or we most likely won't know about for a few weeks or even months. There was a rumor that Kurt Angle has been contacted about a potential return to the WWE and potentially reforming Team Angle with Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, who are known as American Alpha in NXT. However, Angle is not the only former WWE superstar that has been contacted about potentially returning to the company in the near future to help with the brand split. According to DailyWrestlingNews.com, the company is specifically looking to bring back former WWE stars that are over the age of 40 for veteran presence to help with all the new talent coming up to the main roster. Other than Kurt Angle, WWE reportedly contacted Carlito, Stevie Richards, and MVP. All three men bring something different back to the WWE and wouldn't hurt anybody being a veteran presence putting over new talent. There is no confirmation that any of these men or any other WWE former veteran might be signed by WWE or even appearing for an appearance on WWE programming. However, it makes sense for WWE to look for veterans that can help. Angle actually spoke with Mark Madden on his radio show in Pittsburgh, where he was asked about going back to the WWE. Angle said the following: "Will I return? Yes. I just don't know when." That wasn't much regarding a comeback at all, but Angle did elaborate on things a bit more as he spoke about recent phone calls he had with WWE Executive Talent Relations and WWE Wrestling legend Triple H. He said that he and the Game had a good conversation about 6 weeks ago, which happened to be right before the brand split was announced. He claimed that Triple H and him were on good terms, but said that he was not contacted about much of anything since. Kurt Angle claimed to be fine whether or not WWE contacts him again or not. Clearly, he would like to work with the WWE at least one more time. However, Angle was asked if he wanted to go back for one more match with WWE, which he claimed was what he spoke to Vince McMahon and Triple H about. He said that Vince and Triple H were great and they had a great talk regarding many things. However, they said at the time they wanted to push younger talent, but then all of a sudden the brand split occurred. This means that WWE and Kurt Angle did talk about something, but couldn't come to any sort of agreement on coming back due to WWE's continued stance on only using part-timers on a small basis during big-time events. With the likes of Chris Jericho, RVD, and others, they never did WWE wrong and left on bad terms. As well, when it comes to Brock Lesnar, he was a hot name who could give WWE a lot for years to come. That meant his value was raised. Kurt Angle did say that he would love to wrestle part-time before moving into a manager position. He said that he would love to manage Chad Gable and Jason Jordan of American Alpha, which is something fans have mentioned they would like to see. There is really no need in it for them, as they have a ton of charisma on their own and can talk just fine. Regardless, it seems Kurt Angle wants to return to WWE in any way that he can, and that is obvious by the way he answers questions these days. The question is, will WWE want to bring Kurt Angle back to the company, even for a small role? The fans would love to see him come back and have made it known on various social media platforms since Angle parted ways with TNA. So a lot of people online are saying that they want Angle back in the WWE ever since he left and finished up with TNA. It remains to be seen if they will bring him back, but with the brand split needing big names on both brands, Angle has a much better chance to come back than he once did in the past. This is an absolute no-brainer, man. We've discussed Kurt Angle several times over the past few months here on Off the Script. Kurt Angle coming back in a Brock Lesnar type role. What is the big deal about that? I mean, how many times does Lesnar wrestle a year? Really? Count it. Maybe 4, 5, 6 times at most. Kurt Angle could easily do that. You don't need to overwork Kurt Angle. You don't have to give him a full-time contract. You don't have to give him any type of deal reminiscent of him killing his body like he did when he was first there. Kurt Angle on a part-time basis on a deal similar to Brock Lesnar would add so much value, not only to the WWE, but what we watch as well. If you want to pair him with Jordan and Gable, fine. They may not need it, but having a presence like Kurt Angle would instantly get them over, and that would be a mainstay on the main roster, and people will know who they are long after Angle is finished with American Alpha. This is a no-brainer. I don't have any more to add than this. I've been saying this is a no-brainer. I'm going to state it now that it's a no-brainer. I hope to God WWE, Triple H, Vince McMahon sit down with Kurt Angle, and when this brand split actually happens, we hear that fucking all too familiar theme, and Kurt Angle is back in the WWE, whether it's on Raw, whether it's on SmackDown. All I give a shit about is seeing this man retire where he belongs, at home in the WWE, having few more matches in him to see him go against the likes of Rusev, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, John Cena. You name it, man. You put him in there with anybody, with the guys that they got on that roster right now, this guy could fucking raise the stock of WWE tremendously on his own. No reason why WWE should not give Kurt Angle a contract similar to Brock Lesnar. If Lesnar can do it, and Lesnar can add stock and value to the company and himself, Kurt Angle can do the same thing. And another guy I'd love to see Kurt Angle go up against. Kurt Angle versus Lesnar. Again, I'd love to see it happen one more time. Big updates on the statuses of Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio. Ringside News is reporting that Orton, who was thought to be returning sooner rather than later, is not being advertised until August. It should be noted that Orton is being booked in tag matches for that particular live event tour, which is somewhat of an indication that WWE will be easing him back into the rigors of life in the ring. The question still remains whether Orton will be back in time for a match at SummerSlam, as he's advertised for dates that aren't until late August, with SummerSlam airing on August 21st. There have been conflicting reports over the last month about when Orton would come back, with some suggesting that it was imminent. WWE's goal was to spread out big returns, much anticipated, and not overload one show or overshadow one particular star over another. It became evident that Randy Orton would not return on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw, when Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family made their debut, or return I should say, back to WWE programming. Sasha Banks also made it known that her first appearance was on Raw in months, then advertised house show appearances should give a clearer indication of Orton's time frame, but that doesn't always necessarily mean he couldn't come back before that. Several reports noted on Monday that Orton's 2012 Hell in a Cell opponent, Alberto Del Rio, suffered an injury during the Money in the Bank ladder match, which I am not surprised by. On Sunday, he did indeed take a nasty bump in his final spot of the match and had to be helped out of the arena by medical personnel. Wrestling Inc. noted that Del Rio was taken to a local medical facility in Las Vegas for a knee examination. Del Rio was permitted to travel to Monday's episode of Raw in Phoenix, but obviously he was not used. It is not yet known whether he was kept off the show for precautionary reasons or if the injury is preventing him from competing. Del Rio was dealing with a separate issue following Money in the Bank pay-per-view aside from his knee injury, as he and his girlfriend, Paige, which I still don't believe, were seen arguing outside of a Las Vegas casino, which resulted in Paige getting detained by police, which was later debunked as false rumors. She was not arrested, but she was also taken to the hospital for a medical evaluation. While Del Rio was not used in any capacity during Monday's tapings, Paige was booked in a women's championship match, which she lost against Charlotte. However, it appears she'll be involved in a tag feud with Sasha against Charlotte and Dana Brooke moving forward, which will spawn off into Charlotte versus Sasha going into SummerSlam. As far as Battleground is concerned, the news on Orton pretty much guarantees he won't have a match on that card, especially with SummerSlam status still uncertain. Meanwhile, Del Rio will have some work to go on for the card next month as well. It became more and more evident that Del Rio was the biggest long shot in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and this injury, however severe, will delay anything Vince McMahon and creative team had planned for him, if there was anything to begin with. I don't know where Del Rio goes as far as his status with the company creatively coming out of Money in the Bank, nor do I care. Randy Orton, listen, everybody's anticipating Randy Orton to come back. He will be at SummerSlam. Mark my words, Randy Orton will be drafted. Randy Orton will be on a particular brand. Randy Orton's name will be brought up during the draft, and Randy Orton will be at SummerSlam. There's no doubt in my mind that Randy Orton will be at the biggest pay-per-view that WWE puts on in the summer, okay? Now, finally, guys, I do want to end on two notes. We're going to talk about NXT, two stories coming out of the Performance Center and NXT. Brand extension expected to bring big changes to the WWE Performance Center. Of course, WWE is going to need to change a lot of things to make the brand extension work, and things are going to change very quickly because the WWE Draft is now less than a month away. The rumors have been that WWE has been looking for certain veterans to help with the brand split, which we just reported, but they're also looking for quite a bit of help at the Performance Center. Apparently, WWE is interested in one of the names that I mentioned, Stevie Richards, making a return to the company. Many people were curious about that choice because he's not the same kind of draw that Kurt Angle, MVP, or others would be. According to a report from DWN, DailyWrestlingNews.com, Stevie Richards would be brought back to be a coach at the Performance Center in Orlando. It's not to say he wouldn't be featured in NXT or even on Raw or SmackDown, but the expectation is he'd be more involved in developmental than being on television. The word within the company is that there are many members of the developmental staff that will be moved to the main roster, so WWE is going to need some new faces and some new help within the Performance Center. This is obvious. This is nothing that's going to surprise anybody. Changes are going to happen. They're going to raid NXT like expected. Not only the talent, but the people that work within the Performance Center. Everybody's going to get a promotion. This means more opportunity for a lot of people. This is one of the positives about the brand split. It gives deserving people a chance to be moved up to the main roster and work new roles within the company as a promotion. And they're going to be paid more for it, and they're going to be compensated for their efforts and their hard work. That is one of the few positives about this brand extension. Bringing in veteran talent, I like it. Just don't overdo it. They're there merely to get the younger talent over. It's always great to have veteran presence, MVP. I'd love to see a John Morrison come back. I'd love to see a Carlito come back and align himself with the Shining Stars and get that gimmick over. Veteran presence will help. Just don't overdo it and really nail it home as to what their role is going to be. But the brand extension is going to bring many changes, which I'm sure a lot of you already figured out. And finally, guys, this is exciting news, and news that I am hoping leads to a certain match I want to see at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the Barclays Center SummerSlam weekend. Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura is announced for NXT for 3 weeks. We got to wait 3 weeks to see this match, but it's happening on NXT TV on the WWE Network and not at TakeOver Brooklyn 2. Last week, NXT fans saw something awesome and something they've wanted to see for many months now. After NXT TakeOver The End, the NXT Universe and Finn Balor were wondering what was next for the Demon. Although, the obvious answer is the main roster. Nakamura answered the call and presented Balor with a new challenge in NXT, and that'll keep him around for just a little bit longer. Since their friendly confrontation last week, many people have been wondering how the powers that be would give Balor versus Nakamura. Many assumed we'd have to wait till NXT TakeOver Brooklyn in August. We do have to wait, but thanks to NXT's general manager William Regal, it'll only be for 3 weeks, because we'll see Balor versus Nakamura in the ring in 3 weeks on the weekly edition of NXT. Now, it is going to be very interesting to see if NXT officials just give us Balor versus Nakamura without any type of decisive winner. Interference from a heel or a tag team makes a lot of sense. This week, it was rumored. Actually, I'm going on to a different fucking report. I also got news on CM Punk. I was starting to read the CM Punk news about his eventual debut at UFC 203. We'll talk about that on Sunday, but WWE announced Finn Balor versus Nakamura for NXT television. I am glad this is happening. Number one, it makes their regular programming must-see. It's always great, not all the time. You don't want to give this away too often, but it's always great to see this type of match promoted and showcased on their regular TV program. I love this decision. Okay, I was happy when this was announced it was going to be happening on the network during their weekly programming. Balor versus Nakamura obviously is a main event caliber match for a TakeOver special. But what I am interested to see is where Finn Balor fits into this. He is definitely going to be an integral part of the brand split and the roster draft. Okay, this may be Finn Balor's last match. Coincidentally, this match takes place just a few days before the fucking draft takes place. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Nakamura, you know the way he's been in NXT. He's been unbelievable, outstanding, fantastic, unreal. He deserves a title shot. I've been claiming that the best decision here is Joe versus Nakamura in Brooklyn for the title, in which Nakamura wins the NXT title and has a run with the title before eventually being called up right before WrestleMania 33 or during WrestleMania 33 season. Now, if this match leads to another match and is ruined or sullied by some type of interference, we could very well get a triple threat match. Balor versus Nakamura versus Joe at TakeOver Brooklyn, which I'm pretty sure none of you would mind. Or if there's an interference here, we can get this again. They could make it into a number one contenders match. No interference. Nakamura wins. And then Nakamura goes on to fight Joe. Now, if this is going to lead to these guys ending this particular battle at TakeOver, who does Joe fight? A lot of people are wondering, could it be Aries? Could it be Rude? But Aries, Aries certainly would give Joe a nice run. I would love to see Aries with a title match, a run with the title. I just don't think, I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's in creative plans. Bobby Roode, yeah, he's fantastic. But a heel versus a heel, not really going to work. Sure, people wouldn't mind it, but it really hasn't been introduced on television just yet. There is one name that a lot of people are not talking about, and that is Hideo Itami. Right before Hideo Itami went down and was out for a year and a half, the one guy that was rumored to have put him out of commission, storyline-wise, was Samoa Joe. So Hideo Itami coming back certainly makes logic. It makes sense. It just adds to the storyline that WWE really never finished up before he went out with injury. If Hideo Itami comes back and is 100% ready to go, I would not mind seeing Itami versus Joe in a match, setting up a battle, and setting up that revenge type angle upon his return. That would be great. Joe versus Itami, Balor versus Nakamura, and then whatever else WWE has planned for Brooklyn. I don't know what else they got planned. Bayley versus Asuka again, or a triple threat match with Nia Jax. WWE has a few different ways that they could go about this with NXT, but as of right now, it looks like we're going to get this one match and then done, and Balor's going to be on the main roster. Because as soon as he's on the main roster, it would be great to see him do double duty like Kevin Owens did, but I don't think they're going to do that. He's going to be plenty busy with the draft and then whatever brand he goes to. Nakamura wins this. He goes on to fight Joe. I think that's the match we get at TakeOver Brooklyn Part 2, SummerSlam weekend. Nakamura, Joe, NXT title. Nakamura is your new NXT champion. And that's all I got for you guys. Off the Script Part 2. What a loaded episode, man. Unbelievable. I'm going to fucking take a nice day off. I got things to do today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. If you did, certainly show your appreciation. Hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything regarding Roman Reigns. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this Finn Balor Nakamura deal. Do you think I'm right about Itami versus Joe? Could it happen if WWE wants to push this to the TakeOver event in Brooklyn? There's a lot of things to talk about, man. So let me know what you're thinking down below in the comments of this very video. Like I said, hit that thumbs up, and I will be back with more news. CM Punk is a part of that news tomorrow. UFC 203, it is official. Mickey Gall versus CM Punk for his debut at UFC 203, man. Going to be very interesting to see. We're going to go over that and what he's been saying. He was actually quoted in the news article as well about his return and what he's thinking about it. We got all that plus so much more, man. The women's division will be featured on both Raw and SmackDown after the brand split. WWE talking to Rey Mysterio. I got news on Cody Rhodes possibly signing a new deal with the WWE. You're not going to want to miss Part 3, man. The news is loaded this weekend. Don't go anywhere. I'm JD, and I'll see you guys for Sunday Off the Script Part 3. Until then, enjoy your Saturday, and I'll see you guys on Sunday morning for Part 3 of Off the Script. I'll talk to you later.